What's happening, Moto? This is Brenton Plays Magic. I'm Brenton. Thanks for watching. So this is a brand new channel that I just put together today, and I hope to be posting tons of videos in the future and adding content weekly as my schedule allows. So what is going to go on with this channel? Basically, my focus in the short term, at least right now, is to provide some content for guys out there who play the same deck a lot. Obviously, this is Magic Online Moto content. And that being said, what deck am I on right now? Going back, I've been on tons of different decks on Moto, and I think that's something that a lot of guys probably find themselves doing if they've got the extra cash. We just get bored with the decks after a while. Maybe we put something together that we have fun with. Maybe we win a lot of matches in the constructed rooms or the tournament rooms. And maybe we just get bored with them. Maybe we see some flashy new tech on some deck tech videos and we say, oh man, I've got to play that. So we sell off half of our collection, tear down some decks, and put something new together. Well, I did that for a while. I was probably most successful with Black-Green Tron before Eldrazi Tron started to get really, really popular as far as Tron decks go. And I would win a lot of matches with that deck. I played that deck for probably close to 5 or 6 months, and I really enjoyed it. I kind of miss it, honestly. But Tron's actually, once you get used to it, it's a pretty easy deck to play. You got a lot of big hitters. So I sold that off, went through a couple other decks. I was playing some Black-White Smallpox for a while, enjoyed that, just didn't win a whole lot of games. That being said, what did I switch to? If you're on the channel right now and you see my logo, it's Lantern Control. I know, you're probably like, God, this is a Lantern channel. Essentially, for now, it is a Lantern channel because this is the only deck that I have on Moto. Why? Because this thing's freaking expensive. Have you looked at the prices of Ensnaring Bridges and Mox Opals? Sure, I could tear the deck down right now, sell it, part it all out, and build something like Grixis Death Shadow or Escape Shift or Tron again, for that matter, and have a deck that I would probably win more matches with. But here's the thing. I have Lantern in paper. I built it, I wouldn't say a long time ago, a year and a half ago. The deck just caught my eye, and it's just a blast to play from my side, at least. One thing that I'll note about playing Lantern, and at this point, if you have no interest in playing Lantern, you should probably just turn this off and go to something else. But if you do have an interest in playing Lantern, obviously stay. You will immediately understand, if you play this deck in paper and on Moto, that it is a completely different experience. I tend to win a lot more matches when I play it in paper because the human interaction point of it can't be undervalued. You really throw your opponent off big time when you're playing in paper. That Lantern comes down, you're going to have to be telling your opponent repeatedly, if they're not used to playing against the deck, to flip that top card on their library over, remind them to mill. There's a lot more interaction to keep up on, which you're not going to have a problem doing if you play the deck a lot. Your opening turns are always, first 5, 6, 7 turns are going to be kind of slow. Then if the board's been established, it moves a lot quicker, and you're either going to win because they, push it out to the end, or they're just going to get tired and scoop, and that's usually what happens. Online, we see that more often. The games that I'll post, if people just scoop within the first couple of turns and we don't even get to the second match and there's no real good content, I won't bother posting it to YouTube. But hopefully over time, what we'll get is a collection of videos that show you, how the deck works. Some of the times when I will make mistakes, it just happens, and I'm not the world's best Magic player for that matter. But you can maybe learn something from that. If you're not a Lantern player, you can watch me and learn how the deck operates, where my mind goes when it comes to thinking about sideboarding. So if you see your deck versus mine, you can think, okay, that's what it's in his board. player, and that's what he's going to board in. So, that might be able to help you if you plan to face against the deck and say one of your FNMs, maybe there's some people who play Lantern. So that being said, we can go down through the deck. 2 copies of Academy Ruins, set of Blooming Marsh, a couple of basics in Forests and Swamps, a Spire of Industry, 2 Inventor's Fairs, 4 Glimmer Voids, and 3 Ghost Quarters. We've got 4 Mox Opals and 4 Mishra's Baubles. I play the Baubles. Let me back up. There are a few variants of this deck. One is, are you playing Baubles? I play them because they make the deck a little bit faster and they help you with a little bit of card draw so that you can find your key pieces. Not everybody plays them, especially in the paper world. They're kind of expensive for what the card is. I think I actually only have like 2 copies in the paper deck. That deck really needs some updates regardless. That's a whole different story. But we are playing the Baubles. We are currently running Leylines main. I don't always do this, and not all lists will do this. Sometimes you'll see the Leylines out for a 4th Thoughtseize, and maybe a 2nd Collective Brutality, and maybe one other kind of just fringe card. That card being usually an Infernal Tutor. I have one in paper, I just don't with Moto right now. They're like $37 and I don't want to pay for one at the moment. Maybe down the line, just not right now. 2 Abrupt Decays, 1 more on the board. Of course, 4 Snaring Bridges. We've got our Mill Rocks in Codex Shredder, Ghoul Color Spell, Pixis of Pandemonium, 2 Pithing Needles. And 4 Ancient Stirrings, of course. That kind of rounds out the deck. We've got a Magus of the Moat, 2 Surgicals. That's another card that sometimes you'll see ran main board. I'm not doing it right now to make room, 1 for the Leylines, and 2 because the card is very much situational. Sometimes it's just a dead card in hand. There's some matches it just really doesn't matter. Once you get your Lantern and Mill Rock lockout, you can work around their big threats, but it does come handy in certain matchups like Storm. You can really wreck them if you take out like a Past in Flames, things like that, or one of their ritual spells. I've got a Maelstrom Pulse that helps with a lot of your bigger planeswalkers because we basically, our main removal spell is Abrupt Decay, and it can't target anything with a converted mana cost over 3. We've got a Nile Spellbomb and a Gravedigger's Cage for some graveyard hate. Welding Jars against those green, white, and red decks that are going to be running some artifact hate. That can be pretty troublesome. Another Pithing Needle helps against some of the combo decks that run artifacts and whatnot, and planeswalkers. And a Crucible of Worlds. This card I was running main for a while, just kind of try it out, and it's good sometimes, but a lot of times you just want another Ensnaring Bridge, which is why if I had it, I would go ahead and get an Infernal Tutor and find room for it in this list right here. Maybe take out the Collective Brutality, maybe go down a Thoughtseize. I'm not quite sure, but this is the deck that I'm running right now. And as I kind of alluded to the first part of the video, eventually, I'm going to get tired of this deck, and I hope to get some input from some of the subscribers that I hope to gain, and maybe we can come up with something that is fun and enjoyable to watch a ton of games played on, because that's what I want to do. I think you get better at winning matches when you play one solid deck that you're comfortable with, even if you've got to suck up a ton of losses while you learn the ins and outs of the deck. Especially with a deck like this, you will see me lose. It's going to happen. And then we'll find out where there are certain matches that are just almost always ours. The matches where the decks are creature based and they just can't deal with bridge. Combo decks that we can really disrupt quite easily. So thanks for watching. This is Brenton Plays Magic, and I'm Brenton. And stay tuned. Leave constructive comments in the videos. If you see anything that you would have done differently, or if you had a question about why my mind went to a certain play, please leave those comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Until then, Have fun.